And do we know if Connie is on with us?
She is on Zoom.
Okay, perfect. Okay, all rise for the pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call of the council, please.
Smith,
Here.
Anderson, absent, Arcano,
Here.
Burbank, here, Ferguson, here. Councilmember Bender is on Zoom. Green,
Here.
Motion to excuse Councilmember Anderson.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
motion carries.
All right, do we have any modifications this evening?
Move to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Motion carries.
Okay, well, before we get to public comment, we have a whole bunch of the Pichos clan here this evening, which is great to see all of you. It's been a long-standing tradition in Buckley to name streets in honor of individuals who have devoted years serving our community. Tonight, we are proud to recognize George Pichos. George T. Pichos was born May 15th, 1931, and dedicated much of his life to public service and law enforcement. He served us as the chief of police for the city of Buckley from 1966 to 1981. Before his time in Buckley, George led a distinguished career in public service, working for the King County Sheriff's Department, serving as chief of police for Pacific, Washington. He also served as a judge in Carbonado, where I was told today he married at least one couple. Beyond his service in law enforcement, George was a decorated veteran of the Korean War, where he earned several honors, including the Purple Heart, the Bronze Star, and the Good Conduct Medal, recognizing his bravery and dedication to his country. George lived in Buckley for over 30 years, leaving a lasting impact on our community through his dedication and leadership. We are grateful for his years of service and proud to honor his legacy in Buckley. As I mentioned tonight, I believe we're joined by members of his family. And I've got a few more quick notes I made talking with Pat this afternoon. George worked for PLU and the University of Washington as security for both. Worked at Western State Hospital as a guard in Lakewood. Worked for the Department of Corrections as a probation officer. All of this was after he retired. And he worked at the Monroe State Penitentiary for, I'm not sure the number of years, Pat might tell us that. 6 years, okay. And Pat told me today that there was three tiers in the jail, in the penitentiary, and the inmates would have bets, I think nightly, on how many cells he would get through before he would lose the ashes on his cigarette. George had I grew up around George, and I have plenty of personal stories, but I've never seen anybody smoke a cigarette like George. Those ashes would be all the way to the filter before they would fall off. And he had that gait when he would walk. It was so smooth walking, even all the inmates would like, okay, he's gonna make it to the second level tonight or whatnot. And when he retired, this is a neat part. This might give you a snapshot of George if you didn't have a chance to know him. When he retired from the penitentiary, the inmates all signed a card for him, wishing him well. Every single one of them. So, let's see, what else do I have? I remember George telling the story when he was going to join the Army. And he was walking, he grew up in Sunnyside, Washington, and was walking, if I get this right, it's been a few years since I heard this story, but he was walking down one side of the sidewalk on one side of the street in Sunnyside, and a couple of buddies, good friends for, high school, one of them, I'm going to join the army. Well, not without me, you don't. And so they all went down and joined the army, I think that day, if I remember right. And went to Korea not long after. And Pat told me a funny story about them. One had been drinking lots and lots of water, and so they had to took a urine sample. And one was mostly clear from all the water he'd been drinking, and one was not so clear. So then they decided, well, that might not go over well. So then they mixed it together so it all kind of looked the same. So these were different days at different times, of course. But I could go on for a long time. And I will add this too, that long before there was the Scared Straight thing, I believe in the 80s, George was well known in the community for calling kids that would get in trouble, or young men or women, that mostly men, but young boys would get in trouble. And George would call their parents and make sure he had the okay, and he would keep them in jail overnight. Long before there was a Scared Straight program, and many went on in their lives to come back and thank George for keeping them out of prison and getting them on the right path. So again, whole different days and times, but it'd be nice to go back to that, of course. So, let's see. I will, and I guess before we get to the actual recognition here, did anybody want to say anything before? Any of the family members, you feel free to come up and, yeah, please, absolutely.
Thank City Council.
Just at the mic, yeah, thank you. Okay. Sure.
I just want to thank you guys very much for allowing this to happen. Appreciate that. Eric for the fire chief for his recommendation. And it means a lot to us and our family. And, you know, I think my dad was actually the very first chief of police that Buck actually hired. I think prior to that was chief of police that was hired by the state. And he built the jail, and he made that a fundraiser for the city by farming out to other police departments to bring in people for them to watch. And so it's just great to see. Now, I drove by, saw the sign, took pictures. So anyways, and then to your comment about kids, you know, being thrown, let's not forget the part where they always had to wash cars on the weekends, because we used to always drive by to see who got in trouble the day before, because they're outside washing cars. But anyways, thank you so much for allowing this to happen. I, for one, I'm the second oldest, really appreciate it. So thank you so much.
You bet. Thank you. Please.
Tell one quick story. I ran for city council and I lost by 33 votes. But anyway, what happened is we didn't have 24-hour coverage. And my policy was to freeze everybody's wages, including my husband's, so that we could have 24-hour coverage. And so anyway, that was the doctrine that I ran on. Well, Paul Harvey got a hold of that. And it was on the Paul Harvey show. And George happened to be driving by, and this gal was speeding, and he pulled her over and he stopped her. And he said to her, he says, "I'm sorry, ma'am." He says, "But do you realize how fast you were driving?" And she said, "Well, yes, I do." But she says, "You are a celebrity." And he looks at her and he says, "What do you mean I'm a celebrity?" And she says, "You're on the Paul Harvey show." And he says, "I'm what?" And he says, "Yeah, your wife is going to freeze your wages." And he says, "You're still not going to get out of the ticket, ma'am."
Thank you, Pat. Anybody else? Please feel free if you'd like. Okay. All right. Okay. If you want to meet me here, we'll get the. This is a sign for you guys to pass around to the family, your own to keep. And we have this certificate here, just go through this. In recognition of a lifetime of extraordinary dedication and service to the Buckley community, the city of Buckley proudly designates Pechos Avenue in honor of these lasting contributions which have shaped our city. This street will serve as a permanent tribute to a legacy of leadership, service, and commitment to the safety and well-being of our community.
Thank you all so much.
Yep,
This
yep.
is such an honor.
If you want to come up here and take pictures, or to have the whole family come up and take pictures in front of the.
Yeah, they're locked, so they don't just go easy.
To get us.
We got it.
I know, I'm like, it probably would have been easier to just.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Randy. Randy.
Yeah.
Filming and photocopying Melissa's picture and printed hundreds of flyers to help them with search. And as the sun came up, the search expanded. On the railroad tracks.
All right, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, hundreds of people. Yeah.
Like, send a copy of the photo. Does anyone want to give me a number to send a copy of the photo? Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Detectives is in.
Yeah. Yeah, and I will send it. He's writing down. Phone number or email address to send a photo.
Oh, Mayor, do you want to tell them they don't have to stay for the whole meeting if they don't want to?
That was the main focus of the main part of the meeting.
Thank you, Ron.
Unless you want to say.
Yeah.
Here, we do this, okay, and rest. That was outstanding.
And do you receive, can you receive text messages
Yes.
on that?
This also in the Spike neighborhoods.
This one will be.
This one's in Blueberry.
Neighborhood, yeah, which is closest to
Ryan.
George's place for 3 decades.
Yeah, perfect. I will send
Yeah, back in the day when they made you wash cars.
Oh, that was funny.
I mean, I
Yeah,
think.
we used to get the prisoners out to work with us.
Yeah, oh yeah, with the
Pull
city
right up
crew,
to the
yeah.
Police station, they
Jump
don't,
in.
they don't kick 2 out with me and I take them and we tar beds over.
Yes.
Like,
Back
there's
when things were
nobody.
normal.
What's that? Yep, yep.
Now you just go over to the youth center and say, hey, who wants to work?
And then scatter.
Yeah, disappeared.
And I forgot I brought this. This is the day after my 11th birthday, signed by George, my certificate for the state of Washington to allow me the privilege to hunt in this state.
Yeah, so I got hunting license.
Yeah, that was in the old days, a different kind of green card.
That's cool.
Got-
Yeah.
George was certified to do lots of things.
That's what they called it, though. was getting
Yeah,
your
that,
green
yeah,
card.
it was. That's what we called it, getting your green card. It was the go. Okay. Lots of fond memories with George, I can tell you. He had a cabin out Clay City and we'd go riding 3-wheelers out there and just good people. So. All right, public comments. Does anybody like to speak for up to 3 minutes this evening? And we'll have, of course, another opportunity at the end of the meeting. If anybody'd like to speak for anything. Yeah, please. You know, if we have anybody.
I do not. I think my sheet.
Yeah, just give us your name and your, if you live in the Buckley city limits or not, and whatever you'd like to say.
Oh, okay. I'm Taj Duncan. I do not live in this town, the city limits. I apologize. I have a lot of paper that doesn't want to stay. I actually work at Rainer School.
Okay,
And there are 2 bills currently out in the, on the floor.
Mhm.
Senate Bill 5393 and House Bill 1472 that are, proposing that Rainer School is shut down.
Yep.
We are asking for community support, obviously, to help us voice and let everyone know how important it is for Rainer School to stay open for our clients.
Yep.
I've worked there for 17 years. It's much more than a job. This is my first time, sorry.
oh, no,
Apologize.
take your time.
So I brought Washington for All, not just for the rich. You can text STAND to 237-263, and that will give you prompts on emailing the legislation and letting them know either a automatic prompt, or you can write down, a personal story or something as well. We are hosting a community town hall on March 25th at the Buckley Fire Station at 6 p.m. We are hoping to pack the fire station. I heard it's a pretty big building, so we're hoping that we run out of space and people have to, stand and support Rainer School. As we the News Tribune just put out an article that says Rainer School employees in Buckley 5,114 employees from just Buckley and the surrounding plateau. So I have Save Rainier and Yakima postcards to fill out that I can get turned into at Rainer School switchboard or admin, and we'll get them to where they need to go.
Okay.
I also have signs. You guys, I hope that people have been seeing some of these signs up
Yep.
around the community. There's a QR code on the bottom of them that you can scan, and it'll tell you, and it'll send a note to your elected officials. And I just thought it was really cool, along the lines of the city of Buckley and the Buckley Fire Department, that funds came from Rainer School from services provided to us to purchase a new fire apparatus. So that was pretty awesome. If you want a sign or a postcard, I will be over there and I will be happy to give you one.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you bet.
Yep.
Okay, anybody else? We have, no, anybody online?
Just Connie and the.
Oh, yeah, Pat, please.
I understand that you're gonna have.
That's okay.
Talk loud enough. I understand that you guys are gonna have like a Hall of Fame, or not. I guess I may.
We can,
Huh?
we can.
If you want, if you're gonna have a Hall of Fame type thing, if you would like to have this, we would be more than happy to donate it.
Okay, yep,
Putting a wall on our police department with our history.
okay. Oh, perfect. Yes, absolutely. Thank you. Perfect. Thanks, Pat. Okay, anybody else this evening? But we'll have another opportunity at the end. Okay. All right, into committee reports, Parks and Community Service.
Yes, Parks and Community Services met 30 minutes ago.
Oh, perfect. Okay,
And so I apologize, I don't have any wonderful notes for you. It's all chicken scratch right here, and I'll do my best to read
Perfect.
my own writing. So talked about City Hall furniture. There was some competing bids on the new furniture for the City Hall that the staff has been looking at. just about in, like, I think it was at the $42,000 range, and I saw it's on your report as well. Confirmed it's all very ergonomical, so won't have any back aches and neck aches. Be sitting pretty there, but definitely will need some good furniture to fill out the new city hall, all the workspaces. We had one application for public art come in, and from the Downtown Association, that'll be going to the commission for approval, and then it will come to us for final approval. Likewise, we had a community bench application, so we'll be seeing that soon too. There is an update on the Gaga pit. Do y'all remember the Gaga pit? It's like the confined dodgeball situation. So update on that. There's going to be a updated proposal looking at possibly more of a mobile pit type thing rather than a fixed pit right by the youth activity center. So more to come there. Nothing for sure yet, but still working through the details there. Got a preview of the community newsletter. They'll be coming out in May, so we'll be seeing that soon. Miller Park update. So we had secured 2 grants, but the governor's budget slashed 1 grant, and now there's not much money in the other grant. So it's going to be a little more tight than what we thought. There was some federal funding that's on pause indefinitely, so we're not counting on that either. So we do have money for the first phase of Miller Park, but we can, because we're not getting these grants, we're not stuck, doing a certain order of construction there. We can actually take a step back and reevaluate and reorganize, reprioritize how we do that first phase. So it could be an opportunity for us to look at that and, maybe move forward in a way that might fit us better rather than being, behooving to, funding requirements. So, public events updates, the community special events calendar is out. Next up, in April, there's going to be a hound hunt and an egg race on April 19th, and then bike to school on the 28th. So keep your eye out for that, and hopefully you bring your pooches out to that hound hunt. I won't sleep in this year. I'll be there for sure with my dog. And that's it.
Okay, thank you, Brandon. Admin, finance, and public safety.
All right, so here we go. We met yesterday afternoon at the fire station. It seems like a month of Sundays since we did that. We have administration wise, utility workers positions. There's 65 applications. And again, we understand that when somebody's on unemployment, they can apply, they have to show they're applying for stuff. As such, 9 people have been identified for interviews coming up for our open utility worker spots. Special events applications, we're in March, and you know what's coming forward. We already have one for the Relay of Life for Dog Walk, Buckley Hometown Market, the Doxa Dirtbags Cornhole Tournament, and of course, Log Show Weekend, the Firehouse Beer Garden. Been advised that a total review and rewrite of the City of Buckley administrative policies has been completed, and it's going to be presented to each committee over a period of time, over 3 months, to explain what the changes are and what reformatting has been done. We were told that the esteemed mayor has expressed a desire to update our city logo. Your input is encouraged. And as my colleague stated, we had an overview of 3 companies through the state purchasing, I forget the exact words, where the city goes through a state system to buy stuff. And the average of all 3 bids was like 42 grand. And I can tell you that is not bad, having in a prior career and position, having seen a whole building outfitted for stuff. That's pretty good. Police department, we have a new hire that's currently going through the academy out in Burien, graduate soon. And then we'll begin the field training program, and I'm unsure exactly how Buckley's field training program is. It's, back when I went through it eons ago, it was 3.5 months. So something like around that time. Heartened to hear that they've been conducting monthly traffic enforcement. This month is focusing on speeding. So trying to look at side streets, we get community complaints, things like that. So the focus is on speed enforcement. The third time around for the Citizens Academy is going on. They're in full swing and they should be done by the end of this month. Fire department, good to hear that the call volume based on this time last year is down due to multiple factors, some to do with responses to Coastal Mountain, etc. But that is good. It leaves them here in town. They've got a volunteer academy going on right now. And those that pass it will graduate in June. And the city of Buckley is part of the East Pierce Interlocal Coalition, along with all kinds of other municipalities in East Pierce County. And they are hosting a community response team class in the town of Wilkeson, basically getting people together to say if there's a natural disaster, if there's an emergency, this is how people are going to respond to it until the authorities get there. Municipal court, the Blake decision, we've heard about it before, but this was a state Supreme Court decision in 2021 where the state Supreme Court says that the simple possession of drugs was not a crime in Washington. It's since been rewritten and is in full force, but everybody convicted of one of those things before had to be adjudicated through the courts to have it tossed. So the municipal court here, Mrs. Cash says they processed everything that Buckley has had through the system going back through the 80s. All done. Stakeholder meeting coming up on Thursday. Our Judge Barry, Mrs. Cash from the municipal court, prosecuting attorney, defense counsel, all going to sit around the table and have a stakeholder meeting. Finance reported that the year-end, the 2024 year-end report will be presented to us at our next regular council meeting, the 25th. And we also had a briefing on 2025 year-to-date revenue. So we all have a copy of it there. So that's what we had. And the next time we're going to meet will be next month. Only because we're going to be getting the administrative policies broken down to us for 2 or 3 months before it all comes back to the full council.
Perfect. Thank you, Ron. Senior Citizens Advisory Commission, Councilmember Bergerson.
Okay, March 5th is when we met last, and we have a new Senior Center Director, Lori Lund, and it sounds like she's doing great for our senior center so far, coming to us with experience, knowledge, and ideas for our senior community. So we got to meet with her in our meeting, which was very nice. January and February participant numbers, total sign-ins were 2,051. So you can see that they were busy here at the senior center. Average per day in January, 54.26, and average in February was 53.68. So I'm not really sure how you get 6/8 of a person, but that's the way that the numbers work out. So Tuesdays and Fridays are still the busiest days, Mondays and Wednesdays coming in next, and Thursdays the least busiest, but then Thursdays, part of that could be due to the hours are cut down to half day. Spring program plans, a draft of April's calendar was provided, including the various programs for each week. Lori Lund, the new Senior Center Director, she's working to finalize the details on a few of the trips, but it looks like April is going to be busy for our seniors. Lori has contacted Matthew Centelli, a community outreach outreach and education specialist from Pierce County, and she set up 3 educational classes for our seniors that wish to participate. So that's exciting. April 7th, it's preventing and recovering from scams, fraud, identity theft. So that would be good for everyone, not just seniors. May 5th, memory wellness, and June 9th, fall prevention. So those are all good classes. Scholarship program was discussed, and the city will provide the nonprofit with a draft and schedule a meeting to get the ball rolling. The nonprofit can request changes that they feel are appropriate. Participation policy is being implemented to maintain accurate records and the safety of participants, volunteers, and visitors while at the senior center or at the outings. Major event calendar. We discussed major events by month for the remainder of 2025. So Lori is right on top of everything. Commission added a few more items they would like to see on the calendar, and there was discussion of where some of the events may be held, like the picnic. So it was a good meeting.
Good.
Nice to get together.
Perfect. Yeah, that's the scam. I'll have to get with Kurt on this to talk about what we can and can't talk about, but some of the stuff that it happens right here in our own community quite a bit, especially to seniors. And of course, it's hard to come and talk to the police about when you've been taken for a ride, but
Right.
it happens far too often, even in Little Buckley. So.
Right.
Thank you. Planning Commission, Councilmember Arcano.
Planning Commission met March 3rd and we went over the state mandated ADU rules. And then we backed it up March 4th with the study session, so.
Yep. Okay. Perfect. All right, I know we went through that in our last study session there. Okay, consent agenda.
Move to approve the consent agenda.
On tonight's consent agenda is claims and payroll. Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Motion carries.
And into the regular agenda.
First item on tonight's agenda is Dock Tape Pavilion Project Final Design.
Move to approve the final design of the Dock Tape Pavilion and authorize the Foothills Railroad to Trails Coalition to proceed with construction as designed and permitted.
Second.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for City Administrator Brunel? Concerns? Nothing? I know we touched on this last study session. We went through, got into this a little bit. Do we have a date when they're probably not the date they're planning to break ground?
I do have that date
Okay.
as of today, March 24th. So that is 2 Mondays from now at 5 p.m. There will be a groundbreaking ceremony for the pavilion, and they did agree to lower the height of the donor wall, that large wall, to under 4 feet for visibility.
Okay. Perfect. Can hit that and then go to the fire station the next night for the state school
It's also our regular city council meeting.
on Tuesday. Yep.
Yep, at 6 p.m. at the same
Okay.
time, but we are going to work to keep that agenda short so that anybody who would like to can go to the Rainier State School
Okay.
afterwards at the fire station.
Okay. Anybody, any questions, concerns? We got comments. Okay. All right, this is standard vote. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is an employment agreement between the city of Buckley and Chris Banks for the Public Services Director position.
Move to approve the employment agreement between the city of Buckley and Mr. Chris Banks for the position of Public Services Director.
Second.
Okay, and again, anybody, any questions, comments, concerns? Attaboys, any?
He's in Mexico.
Oh, yes. Oh, Denise.
I would just like to say that I think it's a good thing that we have done not only for Chris, but also for the city. It's saved us money by combining 2 different jobs. So sounds like he's doing a great job at it. So I think that that's been a good savings to our city, and I'd like to thank the city administrator and Chris for getting that all worked out. So.
Okay. Super. Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Motion carries.
We wanted to.
Staff reports.
Not
Oh,
just
we got Chris here.
in the sense of identifying and prosecuting the suspect, we wanted to bring.
I'll mute her. I think she's trying to talk.
Okay. Hi, Chris.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council members. I'm just here to provide any information or updates you have on our development projects that is found in your agenda packet. And if you have any specific questions or concerns, I'm here to discuss them with you.
Anybody have anything for Chris, or did you have just kind of a general overview of
Just a
anything?
general overview, and if there's anything specific.
Okay, all right. Anybody got any, Ron?
We touched on this yesterday at the Admin, Finance and Public Safety Committee meeting. And you could see a lot of these things are still under review, and from what you could see here halfway down the Anderson subdivision, those are ready to go. And then from that, the building permit fees for each will start rolling in. These other ones, I asked about the coffee stands and the other gas stations, and I mean, who knows? But this currently, the way I understand it, the only thing ready to go is Anderson, and the other things are still going through the works.
I do have one more update to provide that happened in the time since I wrote this. So the Zhang RV project that was actually just recently given civil approval this week. But that kind of comes back to, are they actually going to build? We don't know.
Okay. Is that the boat storage?
It's a RV boat storage. We had a different one from the Seattle Boat Company, but that one, we haven't really heard anything one way or another in some time about that one.
Okay, all right. Yeah, there's a lot of, sorry, I was just gonna, Denise, did you have something?
No.
Oh, interest rates being what they are, not coming down just yet, of course, is gonna may stifle some growth here right out of the gate, so we're gonna see how this all lays out, what actually comes in and whatnot. Anybody else have any questions, comments? Concerns? Okay, thanks, Chris. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Chris.
Well, city administrator update.
Thank you, Mayor. We covered my two big topics earlier related to the Dock Tape Pavilion. So again, March 24th, 5 p.m. will be that groundbreaking ceremony. And then immediately the following night, immediately following council, we can all hopefully go to the fire station to join the call to action for the Rainier State School closure. I do want to make sure council is aware that we did submit letters of support on behalf of the state school to all of our local representatives, as well as through the online portal. So the city of Buckley has issued a statement specific to the city of Buckley in support of the school. And if you would like a copy of that to create your own letter, I'm happy to send it out along with all of the lists of emails that we've already drafted. I think there's power in numbers. So I did sign, the mayor submitted the initial letter as well as on behalf of the city council, but everyone can send a letter. There's no limit to the number of letters of support. So I will send that out if you would like to draft your own, or even just take what we had and attach your name to it separately. That would be great. I think that's all for me. Thank you,
Okay.
Mayor.
All right. Thank you. And back to public comment. If anybody'd like to speak for up to 3 minutes. Okay. All right. Last but not least, council member comments, good of the order. Councilmember Smith.
I have been contacted by several people requesting the pickleball nets be put back out. Because they have the urge to play pickleball since the weather's been getting better. And so I don't know what the timeline is on that. I said I would pass it on. First, I thought they were stolen, which wouldn't have surprised me. I'm glad to hear that they weren't. Lastly, we all got an email from the city administrator yesterday about the Foothills Trail Bridge and the vandalism. And I am surprised it took that long for some hoodlum to do that. And it burns every ounce of me inside that beautiful structure. And my response, and you probably saw it on the email, was we need a camera. And so solar powered, please. The police department needs to be able to nail. That's felony level malicious mischief. And that is ruining taxpayer funded items. And whoever these hoodlums are doing it need to be held accountable. So hopefully, and I don't care what it costs, it needs to be done. And I don't know if it can be, who can monitor that camera, if it's going to be recorded, what, if something ever happens there. And I mean, even hopefully never there's an accident where but we need to have footage of that bridge somehow. I mean, it is disgusting, all the work that went into that. And then we got some little miscreant ruin it like that. That's ridiculous. So that's it.
Okay. Do we know, did they climb up it kind of looked the way they cut them, they were trying to gain access to the structure itself to climb up there? Do we know, or did they?
Most likely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what,
Yeah, I've had numerous reports.
okay,
It's pretty regular.
okay, yeah. And are we, technically, is any of the bridge in the city limits?
No, it's all under ownership of King County. And so for our insurance and liability purposes, we will not be making any of the repairs. We have tried repeatedly to get in touch with King County. And now that we've had this issue, we will have a direct line in the future, but we have yet to make contact. Yeah, so hopefully that happens tomorrow. We were given some more hotline numbers to call today. And in the meantime, we've done what we can to, show caution, and we'll keep you updated.
Okay. And the camera will likely have to come from them as well.
No, we could install a camera. The problem is that we don't have power to that location. And so we're looking at options for solar, or if there's anything that we can do in order to get power to the site and what that would look like. And we'll bring forward proposals for council, but we can absolutely install a camera on the city side that would be city owned for footage.
Okay,
But the bridge itself, King County, and any issue with the bridge needs to be handled by King County.
okay. Brandon?
Can we push on like their council member or anything? I mean, they have like, everybody and, their mom out there for the grand opening. I'm sure they'd be, interested.
We've reached out to all of the original project management team, as well as all of their maintenance and hotline team. We have not reached out to any electeds yet. So we're going to give them the professional courtesy of getting back to us,
Okay.
hopefully today or tomorrow. And if we don't, then we certainly can explore that as an option.
Okay.
And if you have any personal connections, of course, feel free to exercise those.
And as we all know with the camera, these little folks that like to do this type of thing are very happy to wear a mask and hoods, hence the hoodlum. So yes, it's unfortunate, and we'll do what we can from our side, but anybody else? Denise?
So I saw somebody playing pickleball yesterday when I went down 410. and there were some.
They bring
nets
their
there.
own. Our nets, we put
Oh,
ours
they're
away
bringing their
because in those bad windstorms, they just go flying, and that it's a hazard and they're gonna get ruined.
Yeah.
We have planned spring break. It's a little bit nicer so far this spring than it was last year, so they'll probably be out the next couple weeks.
Okay.
Park staff's off this week, so we'll probably get them out next week. So
Okay.
we can get it with no high winds.
Yeah, I saw those and it's like, we just talked about
Yeah.
that.
Show up with their-
Yeah,
It's kind of impressive
okay.
how many people have them. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Thank you for clarifying that.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay. Well, with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Motion carries.
Thank you, council.
Thank you.
You know why I was the third one?
I have my own pickleball net.
No, that just ran
You know what I started doing? I save it for bring a kid to work day, because my little kids, they love it. I set them at a conference table and I'm like, make piles of perfect, and all the colors, separated out, all the white ones.
Yeah.